Hello, today I am going to talk about how technology and spirituality working together can produce sustainability and happiness. This, to my mind, is a new paradigm of development, and not only is it good for India but for the world. The world is going through tremendous crises. These include large scale conflicts and wars, and the threat of a bigger conflict has never been greater than 1945, and this may even lead to World War III. There is a shortage of food and malnutrition in large number of countries, and unsustainable development all around is leading to worsening environment. There is an economic meltdown in countries which is leading to unemployment and widespread discontent among youth, and there's a tremendous increase of corruption worldwide. So all these things are happening right now, and they are not good for sustainability or happiness. And all these are result of excessive greed among the political and economic leaders of the world. So if we can temper our greed impulse, the world can become a better place to live. So this talk, I will try to show how greed can be reduced by spirituality, which can eventually lead to sustainable development and overall happiness. Throughout the history of mankind, India has periodically given a new thought to the world, whether it is yoga or Buddhism or Jainism, Sikhism, Bhakti Yoga, or the non violence method of Mahatma Gandhi, all have come from India. The world is richer because these lofty ideas and ideals helped, helped mankind. I feel another idea can be added to this list, and that is technology guided by spirituality can lead to sustainability and happiness. So, this talk will detail the thesis behind this idea. But briefly, spirituality gives us wisdom to temper our greed for resources and materials, and together with the use of high technology, can help us lead a sustainable and happy life. I first wrote an article on this subject 22 years ago. It was published in Times of India, and since then I have written extensively on it. This idea is in vogue now, and I feel very proud of having started it 22 years ago. And I also feel that this could be a new paradigm of development not only for India but for the world. So, what is spirituality? Spirituality is concerned with the matters of spirit. When we think deeply and for a long time about anything, whether it is an idea or an object, then the brain has a tendency of focusing on it like a laser, and in that process the object vanishes from the vision field and only its germ or the spirit remains. Then a complete knowledge of that idea or object results, and this is called Sanyam by Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras. This is also the mechanism by which all great discoveries are made. It is this deep thinking on anything which helps us evaluate and resolve the issues and hence removes the clutter from the brain. This process also makes us spiritual and gives us a sense of peace and happiness. Deep thinking and concentration require a very powerful brain, which can be cultivated by continuous and sustained practice. It is preferable that this is learned in childhood, since the brain is pliable at that age and has not been cluttered by memory knots. Nevertheless, this practice can be cultivated at any age. Spirituality is different from religion. Religion is about control. Religious leaders have used it throughout the history of mankind for their own greed, either for power, wealth, or fame. All great thought leaders from whom these ideas came were basically spiritual. It was their later disciples who converted their thoughts into religion to control and create havoc in the world. And some of the largest killings in the history of mankind have come because of religious strife. Spiritually, on the other hand, is a state of mind that makes it understand the truth is beyond the barriers of worldliness, religion, rituals, caste, creed, race, or geographical boundaries. It is non-violent and is not concerned about control of anybody but is a search for truth. It makes us look deeper into ourselves and connects us to the marvels of nature in a deep way and subsequently to universal consciousness. Spirituality also helps us become fearless, since deep thinking helps to resolve the issues which are the cause of anxiety. This also is a genesis of wisdom. Fearlessness allows us to chart new paths and helps us become creative and innovative. Similarly, spirituality also helps us to have a compassionate view of nature, and as we evolve spiritually, we become more tuned to it, which helps us in preserving it. Besides, it helps us to live in harmony with each other and enables everybody to work together for the common good. This is the genesis of nonviolence. In all religions, the respect of nature is preached, and the maxim of simple living and high thinking is ingrained in their teachings. And finally, spirituality also helps us to reduce our greed impulse and is the first step towards sustainability and happiness. So, what is greed and how it can be reduced? The basis of greed is desire. Desire manifests itself in different forms like lust, aim, ambition, control, goal, etc. However, the driving force is the same: power, fame, and money, and I think it ultimately boils down to control and hence power. The cause of the greatest mystery in the world is greed. Rich and powerful are increasing their wealth and power, and this is increasing the chasm between rich and poor. With power, richer people help create unreasonable laws through corrupt practices, which further increases their wealth. Thus, ill gotten wealth and corruption go hand in hand. This is the reason of the present strife in the world. As our brains develop right from our birth, the fast expanding neuron numbers must form memory pathways. This is the nature of the brain. This process is facilitated by the sensory perception, where the inputs from the senses help to form the memory. We are therefore hardwired to increase our experience in memories, and this is the basis of desire. One of the outcomes of desire is possession. We feel a need to possess whatever we desire, whether it is a person, object, or even an idea. Possession helps in maximization of experience. As we absorb experience through our senses, the brain processes this information. It is during this process that we decide whether our desires are fulfilled or not. Fulfillment of desires therefore help us in resolving the memories and releasing the possessions. This results in the feeling of detachment and hence happiness, as has been taught in Bhagavad Gita and Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Unfulfilled desires lead to frustration and increased possessiveness. This leads eventually to more control and greed, which is a major cause of misery and corruption in the world. Desire is a useful and necessary emotion. It allows us to achieve something and be active. Without desire, we'll be lifeless, dead, or like stones. But desire and fear are two primeval emotions and help and have helped life to survive by garnering resources and protecting itself from predators. However, what we need to do is to satiate or channel our desires so that they get fulfilled without too much taxing of resources, materials, and energy. A powerful processor or the mind can get its desires fulfilled quite easily without physically possessing the objects of desire, since it can effectively evaluate all choices and resolve issues regarding consumptive lifestyle. That, in a sense, is spirituality, and it helps us to reduce our greed. For example, we can wear only one shirt and one pair of pants at a time. So, what is the need to have 100 shirts and pants? Similarly, we can live in one house or drive one car at a time. So, what is the need to have many houses and a dozen cars? A powerful mind can resolve these issues and help us lead a sustainable life, while on the other hand, a weaker brain needs to possess a lot more things for fulfillment of desires, and this leads to greed. Now we come to what is technology and the technological progress. One of the outcomes of the big brain is that we can modify our surroundings to make our life comfortable. That is a conquest of nature and hallmark of human evolution. This is also the genesis of technology. The curiosity of how technology works leads ultimately to science. The history of mankind, therefore, is the history of technology. Starting from the wheel and the fire, humans have developed technology to make their lives better and less stressful, and how to husband resources, energy, and materials are all part of the development of technology. Technology is a double edged sword. It helps us to live comfortably, but at the same time enables us to develop weapons of mass destruction. Technology can be developed in whatever way humans want, either to help with mankind's evolution or to destroy it because of our greed. Excessive greed, as we have seen before, is bad, but when fueled by technology, it becomes lethal. It often leads to wars, monopolies, and dictatorships. Yet I feel that the technology and wisdom have often gone hand in hand. Though we have developed weapons of mass destruction, the collective wisdom of mankind has stopped us from annihilating each other. The fact also remains that many more people used to be killed in wars when technology was very rudimentary. In today's war, fewer human lives are lost. Wars are bad, but the lives being lost have reduced quite a lot. Most of the wars are resource related. As we advance spiritually and technologically, we will stop waging wars since the resources available will be converted more efficiently to provide creature comforts to all mankind. I am sure that as the level of technological progress increases, we'll also use it judiciously to further raise our levels of consciousness and not use it to harm mankind. The power of technology also teaches and spreads the message of moderation through mass communication. How technology helps in spiritual growth. Technological progress also unravels a lot of hidden areas of nature and shows us how it performs its miracles. In doing this, technology helps us understand the power and greatness of nature. For example, humans felt that they had invented and developed fiber optics. However, scientists have found that the root systems of plants are excellent optical fibers, something that has existed in nature for millions of years. This knowledge naturally could only come once we had enough technology for creating fiber optics, lasers, etc. Similarly, a new science of biomimicry or copy the nature is developing, where we are finding that nature, which has billions of years of head start, has far better answers than we have in almost every aspect of life. And hence, realization has dawned that our technological progress will take a quantum leap by copying nature's designs. In fact, daily we discover that there is nothing new under the sun, and all our inventions have been preceded by nature's designs millions of years ago. For example, our computers and artificial intelligence or AI are following the working of our brains. As our understanding of human brain and the nature of human thought increases, AI and computing abilities will also increase manifold times. Thus, as we progress ahead in the technological area, we will discover the great laws of nature and ultimately God. For God is nothing else but this marvelous universe which follows its own scientific laws. Excuse me. And science and technology allows us to discover the universe and eventually God. I also feel that it is a law of evolution that as we become more spiritual, we will also become a technologically advanced civilization. This is because when we apply our sharpened brains to any problem, then solutions result. That is the reason why Patanjali put the conquest of physical nature or technology as a third chapter in his book after a yogi became adept in spirituality and the control of mind. And they were discussed in chapters 1 and 2 of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Therefore, a necessary condition for large scale technological progress is to have spiritual progress. The nature of brain is such that as we make it powerful, it wants to increase its inputs and experiences, and the mind expanding process includes peering deep into the space and understanding how the world, cosmos, and universe are formed. This obviously includes the desire to explore and travel in space and intergalactically. That can only be achieved by a very advanced technological progress and is the genesis of the conquest of space in which the mankind is presently involved. Our technological and spiritual progress can also be explained by giving the example of the path that a particle and molecules take in water heated in a container. Each individual part or particle or molecule darts randomly in the water container depending upon the heat energy given to it. But overall, a stream is formed so that the warm water rises and the cold water comes down to be heated. These are convection cells, commonly seen when water is heated or boiled. Individual particles dart furiously in these streams but are restricted by the convection cell boundaries. Similarly, as individuals, we create technologies for our own selfish needs, and depending on our own spiritual progress, we may or may not use them for the betterment of mankind. But collectively, spiritual and technological progress follows the natural evolution of humans towards an advanced civilization, just like the stream of heated water in a utensil. And all our individual shortcomings are swept away for general good by the stream of evolution. We feel and enjoy this world through the sense organs of our bodies. Getting a human body is the most important gift to the soul. Almost all technological interventions are to enhance this sense world interaction. In coming years, technology will provide us with tools to create a much more hospitable planet in which majority of mankind will be able to live comfortably. It will help us repair our bodies and produce designer drugs which will make us live longer with less disease and pain. In fact, the whole basis of yoga according to Patanjali, is to make the human body fit for spiritual experience and happiness. Our future medicines will allow to do this. This increased level of physical comfort will allow us a quantum jump in our quest for spirituality and sustainability. So, what is sustainability that we have talked? Sustainable development means different things to different people, but one of the most accepted definition is meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. However, an excellent definition is what Mahatma Gandhi gave us, and he said, use resources and materials according to your needs and not for your greed. And this, to my mind, is an excellent definition of sustainability. He himself epitomized simple living and high thinking. All evolved spiritual people live a simple and sustainable life. That is their most distinguishing feature. Sustainability results when we curb our greed and is an outcome of spirituality. Modern examples of evolved human beings were Gandhi and Einstein, who lived very simply and yet produced a very high quality of thought since they were very secure human beings. The insecurity of human beings comes when they do not have anything to do. Thus, activities such as hoarding of wealth, materials, material goods, etc., are the result of a shallow mind. Mind seeks enjoyment and gets it in an unsustainable activities like binge shopping. A mind which is very powerful can find enjoyment within itself and makes a person self-contented and happy. Thus, the act of accumulation or hoarding of anything is a sign of a lower life form since it is driven by fear complex of losing out or not having enough. It is a sad state of affairs that the super rich live in a very unsustainable lifestyle. They live in huge mansions, consume enormous amount of energy, resources and materials in a very inefficient manner, and fly in their private jets at the drop of the hat. Unfortunately, their unsustainable lifestyle becomes a role model to the general public since these people also own the communication networks and mass media. Till these people put a curb on the greed, their unsustainable lifestyle will continue. They are the ones who need to become more spiritual than anybody else. Nevertheless, one can live an emotionally satisfying life with few resources. I have shown this by living in rural India for more than 40 years. In this small experiment, I have been influenced by Mahatma Gandhi's definition of sustainability. By consuming one fourth to one fifth the energy of an average American, I live an emotionally happy and fulfilling life. Thus, high thinking and simple living is possible and is necessary for creating a sustainable and just world. Sustainable living does not mean that you produce everything yourself, but it means that all of us living sustainably can utilize the resources of earth in an efficient manner for a better world. For example, if every person on earth consumes the energy of an average American citizen, then we will need four earths to sustain us. This is totally unsustainable development. A simple example of sustainable living is when we live off the interest of fixed deposit in the bank. But when we start using the deposit itself, then it leads to unsustainability. For example, almost all the energy that we humans consume comes from the sun. Even fossil fuels are solar energy stored deep in earth long ago. If we use the amount of energy received from the sun for all our daily needs, then that is a sustainable development. But when we start using fossil fuels, we are dipping into the fixed deposit leading to an unsustainable development. To give you an example, we get from the sun about 10,000 times more energy than the whole world consumes. And if its exploitation is made economical, then it will lead to sustainable development. Now we come to the our final uh, section in which we talk about the pursuit of happiness. After all, whatever we do, we always do for happiness. And our thesis was how spirituality and technology can produce sustainability and ultimately happiness. All of us aspire to have a good life and happiness. There are as many definitions of happiness as there are people, but generally, people want a decent place to live, mobility, good education for their children, clean environment, a challenging workplace, good and wholesome entertainment, and enough money to meet their usual daily requirements. These are the issues around which the modern industrial societies all over the world have evolved, and yet they have created the biggest problem of totally unsustainable lifestyles fueled by greed. Happiness is a state of mind. We feel happy and enjoy life through our senses and the mind. The brain processes the information from the senses, and our level of happiness is dictated by its processing power. A powerful processor can therefore extract more information from the sensory signals and hence resolve conflicts in mind. This results in happiness since the mind gets satisfied easily and allows us to be at peace with ourselves. A powerful processor also shifts the priorities in life, and thus the focus is more on getting mental peace and less on material needs. And this is the most important way in which we can really have happiness without consuming huge amount of energy and resources. A smaller processor obviously needs many more inputs to reach the same enjoyment or satisfaction level, and thus weaker brains need more resources to occupy them, and this leads to unsustainable lifestyle and unhappiness that we see in a lot of these people who are rich, very insecure, and so they want more and more because they have power to do that. Now, how do we go forward and so that this paradigm of development can be propagated? And as we have seen that the most important component in this strategy is to develop a powerful brain. Such a brain allows us to think deeply about everything, and this leads to spirituality and the search for truth. A powerful brain also helps in the technology development. Development of powerful brain should start from childhood. Thus, it is very important that we teach our children to focus and inculcate in them the habit of remaining focused on any issue. This will help them get away from the attention deficit syndrome, which afflicts most of the youngsters worldwide. Creating such focused youth is an investment in the future of the world. Naturally, this will require very dedicated teachers and school system, which will encourage students to think deeply about any issue and be ethical. It is not an easy task, but with dedication and effort on our part, it is a doable goal. And finally, in conclusions, the central theme of this article is how technology guided by spirituality can produce happiness. We have already discussed the building blocks of this thesis. Briefly, it can happen in the following manner. By becoming spiritual, we can reduce our greed for resources and materials. Spirituality also helps us to be at peace with ourselves and sharpens our brain. And besides, it gives us wisdom and perspective in life. With powerful brain and heightened consciousness, we can make rapid technological progress. Technology not only helps us to have a comfortable life, but allows us to admire the wonders of nature and the universe and helps in expansion of our horizon. This is the genesis of space travel. With the wisdom gained through spirituality, we will use technology judiciously so as to use nature's resources wisely and live sustainably. Living sustainably and in tune with nature will give us peace and happiness. And this, in a nutshell, can be the new paradigm of development for the world. This essay is based on my book, Exploring the Mind of God. or how technology guided by spirituality can produce happiness. This book is available from Amazon and is also available on the net. And so I would like all of you who have listened to this podcast to please send your comments and we can start the discussion. Thank you very much.